Well, good morning, everybody. Hello. First, my name's Catherine Blakespear, and it's my great honor to serve as the state senator representing the 38th district. And I want to start with my great enthusiasm for the support behind me, all of these CalPERS students. Yay! So they are all advocates for a plastic-free future. And this is the start of that. So we're really excited by their advocacy, and I just want to say, show me your signs. Show me your signs. Yay! And I want to recognize also with me here today is Assemblymember Steve Bennett. He's right here. He is also a champion for plastic reduction. He introduced a bill that would have eliminated plastic water bottles from all state agencies. And unfortunately, it did not make it through the committee process. But that is a fight that we want to take on because we could do that. These are state agencies, so we can get our water through ways that don't involve using single-use plastics. So I appreciate his advocacy on that and other things. And then also I see walking up right now we have our co-author, Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Kahan, and I want to give a big, excited round of applause for her. So we have two bills. They're mirror bills. My bill is SB 1053. Her bill is AB 2236, and you'll hear from her in a moment. And hopefully at the end of this week, we will have both of those bills on the governor's desk to sign. So it's really important that we know what this bill does and why it's important. This bill has faced opposition. These bills have faced opposition because the plastic industry has really put up a fight. They've advertised heavily against the bills in the last month, and in some ways they have been mischaracterizing what the bills actually do. So what they do, these two bills, they're aimed at fixing California's ban on single-use plastic bags at grocery store checkouts. So in 2014, a full decade ago, the voters said that they did not want to have single-use plastic bags at grocery store checkouts. What they wanted was to have the option for reusable and recyclable bags. So that includes paper bags, and that also includes these types of reusable bags. So this is the best option, is that you bring your bag back to the store and you take your groceries home. But if you need to buy a bag at the store because you don't have your reusable bag, buying a paper bag is the next best option. It is the most sustainable option, and it will be the option that will be available at grocery stores when these bills are signed by the governor. So it's important to recognize why plastic bags are such a problem. So in that 10 years, since California passed its original ban, the amount of plastic waste has actually increased by 50%. So we have 50% more plastic bag waste than we had before the ban, which is really crazy because what happened with the supposed ban was that there was a loophole that allowed for these thicker plastic bags. So now every bag that goes into the landfill or into our oceans and chokes these poor turtles right here, we have an example of who is going to be saved by having a ban on plastic bags. Turtles, among many other sea life. That plastic has increased by 50%, and unfortunately, the lifespan of a plastic bag is only 12 minutes. So on average, people use a plastic bag for 12 minutes to take their groceries home, and then it remains in our environment for hundreds of years, breaking down into microplastics and polluting our soils and our waterways and our own human body. Some 18 billion pounds of plastic flows into our oceans every year from coastal regions alone. Our culture of careless plastic consumption has resulted in a 10-fold increase in plastic pollution since the 1980s. It's responsible for the death of at least 100,000 marine mammals and 1 million seabirds annually. So it's important, I think, to really focus on the fact that plastic consumption is going up. We are fighting against that trend right now. So the oil industry and the plastic industry are the same industry. And if we really want to do something about plastic waste, we have to confront that head on. So this bill is very important, but it's one piece of a much bigger puzzle, and it's a fight that it will take all of us in order to win. Because we, legislators, stand on the shoulders of the people behind us, the people who are fighting for that world that's more sustainable, an environment that's healthy for plants and animals and humans, and that will go on indefinitely, that we are not slowly choking ourselves on this plastic pollution. So I'm excited to be here today in this last week of the legislature. I'm really excited to be here with my co-author, Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Kahan, because together we're fighting this fight in both houses of the legislature. And The time is now for the legislature to pass SB 1053 and AB 2236, and for the governor to sign it. So I'd like to hand it over to Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Kahan now to say a few words, and thank you again to all of our amazing partners who are making this happen.
Thank you, Senator. And what a good job she does of explaining the power and impact of this legislation. I'm sorry I'm late. I was dropping my kids off at school. So I say that in part because they're the reason that I show up and do this. When the bill that enabled these thick plastic bags to come to be, my son wasn't born. I dropped him off for 5th grade this morning. And we still have plastic that is percolating in our environment in ways none of us intended. Just recently, I, like most working parents, did drive up at my local retailer to pick up some goods my daughter needed urgently for her classroom. I always turn down the bags. They walked up, they handed me the plastic bag. I said, "Oh, no, thank you. I don't want the plastic bag." And I happened to be sitting there and I watched him walk up and throw it away. So I got out of the car because I was curious about what just happened. And I said, "I'm sorry, when I say no to that bag, do you throw it away?" And he said, "Yeah, that's what we do. That's our policy. We throw all the bags away." And I looked into the garbage can at my local retailer, and it was full of plastic bags that consumers had turned down. The system we have in place today is not working. So 12 minutes, Senator, is longer than that bag was used. That bag was used for all of 5 seconds. And so we need to change the dynamic in our retail establishments and our grocery stores, because these beautiful faces behind me need a future free from the pollution that you heard about from big oil, free from the pollution in our waterways of these plastic bags. One of the driving forces for me to get involved was my son. As he geared up for his bar mitzvah a few years ago, one of the parts of that process is to decide a way in which you want to make the world a better place. And when I sat down with him and I said, "Okay, what's your project going to be?" He was immediately decisive. He'd been walking around our own community and looking in the waterways, and we happen to have a grocery store that is on a creek. And he had noticed that when people threw their plastic bags in the parking lot, they were ending up in our creeks. And he was spending time in some native land in our community that the creek runs through, and he was seeing the bags run downstream and end up in that waterway and cleaning them up himself. And he said, "I want to get our community together to clean our waterways." And so we did. In our little town, one day after a rainstorm, we got together and we cleaned up 3 trash bags worth of plastic. But that's not sustainable. That isn't the path forward. We each need to do our part, but we as policymakers need to say that we're not going to continue that trend of allowing plastics to end up in our waterways. So he cleaned our waterway, and I committed to getting rid of those plastic bags. So here we are today. And so I just want to thank everybody who's been our partner in this. When almost a year ago, we got together and decided we were going to go on this journey and try to ban these bags, it wasn't clear that we would have all the allies that have come forward in this fight. And I really want to thank the grocers, the environmentalists, all the people who have partnered in some unlikely partnerships to work together to ensure that we have a cleaner future for our communities, for our children, and for the earth we so badly need. And so I join with my co-author, with my colleague in the Assembly, with all of the advocates here today who thank you for showing up on a Tuesday morning to say it's time. It's time for us to get rid of these plastic bags and to continue to move forward with a more pollution-free environment. So thank you so much for having me.
And now I'd like to introduce Jennifer Fearing.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Fearing, and I'm here today on behalf of Monterey Bay Aquarium, an institution that's dedicated to inspiring conservation of the ocean, and also Ocean Conservancy, an environmental nonprofit that's working with this team and across the world to protect the ocean from today's greatest global challenges. One of those challenges, of course, is plastic pollution. Plastic bag pollution is devastating to the ocean, especially to some of our most iconic megafauna like turtles and seabirds. However, the bags we see on our beaches, in our ocean, and in our communities are just the tip of the iceberg. These plastic bags generate pollution throughout their life cycle, from greenhouse gas emissions to toxic chemicals to microplastics, all of which create invisible but no less impactful harms to our communities and the environment. That's why 10 years ago, Californians took action by banning plastic grocery bags. But the ban didn't work because it wasn't a full ban. It allowed for those thicker plastic film bags under the guise that they were reusable. But in fact, Plastic grocery bags have ranked in the top 10 most commonly collected items by California coastal cleanup volunteers in 7 of the last 10 years. Over that decade, these volunteers picked up enough littered plastic bags to span the length of the Golden Gate Bridge nearly 30 times. By prohibiting plastic grocery bags at checkout, SB 1053 and AB 2236 will eliminate this significant source of unnecessary, harmful, and polluting single-use plastics. Ocean Conservancy and Monterey Bay Aquarium applaud Senator Blakespear and Assemblymember Bauer-Kahan for championing these bills. We are deeply grateful to their staff and other supporters of this effort who are working to make plastic bag production, distribution, and pollution a thing of the past. Let's get these bills passed and off to Governor Newsom. Now I'm pleased to introduce Lisa Gilfillan with Oceana.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Gilfillan, and I am the California Field Representative for Oceana, coming today from District 39. On behalf of Oceana's nearly 130,000 California members, we applaud Senator Blakespear and Assemblymember Bauer-Kahan for championing a clear solution to the plastic bag pollution problem that harms our oceans, climate, and communities. We're also grateful to the diverse coalitions that have propelled these strong bills forward in the face of misleading advertisements and advocacy by plastics industry. Oceana is proud to be part of these collaborative efforts. Californians don't want to use single-use plastic grocery bags. Voters upheld the original bag ban at the ballot box in 2016. And polling by Oceana shows that 86% of California voters support local and state policies that reduce single-use plastic, and 9 out of 10 California voters are concerned about single-use plastics like grocery bags. An estimated 33 billion pounds of plastic enter the oceans every year, and that includes single-use plastic film grocery bags. We know these plastic films are the most common plastic harming ocean wildlife, like the turtles behind me. With plastic production growing at a rapid rate and industry continuing to push inadequate solutions like plastic recycling, increased amounts of plastic will flood our blue planet with devastating consequences unless we continue to act and to turn off the tap. California must continue to lead by addressing the global plastic pollution crisis. AB 2236 and SB 1053 will uphold the intent of California's original bag ban and to deliver to Californians what they've already asked for, the end of plastic film carryout bags at grocery and convenience store checkouts across the state. These bills are a win for our coasts, our climate, and our communities. We can't miss this opportunity to reduce California's plastic footprint and set smart policies. We need to reduce the production and single-use plastic and move to reuse and refill systems. Reusable packaging, including bring your own bags, is a proven solution in the fight against plastic pollution crisis. We urge the legislature to swiftly pass AB 2236 and SB 1053 and urge Governor Newsom to sign them into law. Next, I'd like to welcome Miho Laguerre from Surfrider Foundation.
Good morning. My name is Miho Laguerre. I am the Plastic Pollution Policy Manager with the Surfrider Foundation. I'm so excited and honored to be here today to show support for the passage of SB 1053 and AB 2236 with all these wonderful supporters. Thank you for being here on a Tuesday morning. 10 years ago, Surfrider, along with partners, worked hard to pass the nation's first statewide bag ban. This victory was the culmination of an effort of 6 years to promote bag ban legislation in the state capitol, followed by a ballot measure in 2016 to uphold the statewide bag ban. While working at the state level, Surfrider's grassroots activists and partners also worked tirelessly at the local level to pass many ordinances, showing that not only do Californians want a bag ban, but they work to decrease pollution in our communities and the environment. SB 1053 and AB 2236 show California's commitment to being environmental leaders and that we're continuously learning, growing, and striving to do better. We've learned a lot over the past 10 years, and it's inspiring to see the state come back to address issues like the thicker plastic bags. These bags are not recyclable, harm wildlife and our environment, clog sewage drains, contaminate our drinking water, and break down into toxic microplastics that accumulate in our ocean and landfills. I appreciate the leadership of Senator Blakespear, Senator Allen, Assemblymember Bauer-Kahan for championing these bills and their dedication to improve the current law based on lessons learned from the past and from other states. Let's pass SB 1053 and AB 2236 to strengthen the statewide bag ban and lead the nation once again. And now I'd like to pass it over to Louis Brown, speaking on behalf of the California Grocers Association. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Louis Brown, and I'm here today on behalf of the California Grocers Association. We are proud supporters of these two bills and want to thank our authors, Senator Blakespear and Assemblymember Bauer-Kahan, for their leadership on this issue. Everyone's talking about the passage of SB 270 10 years ago, but the California Grocers Association was actually involved in the policy of bags at the point of sale far beyond that. In fact, Assemblymember Lloyd Levine passed a bill that actually provided for take-back bins in grocery stores. That was the first step to see if we, along with the plastic industry, could actually reduce plastic moving through the grocery stores. That attempt failed, which led us to support SB 270. And SB 270 then transitioned us to what could be available at the point of sale. Well, it's 10 years later, and we now see that more change is needed. So that's why the grocers are here today. We've been involved in this policy. We've seen our businesses transition to be more environmentally sustainable. We've seen our customers transition. And so we believe come January 1 of 26, when only paper is available at the point of sale, our members will support it, our customers will support it, we'll continue to support our industry and business partners in the paper industry, but more importantly, our grocer members will continue to be stewards of the environment. So we stand here proud supporters of these two pieces of legislation, encourage the Senate and the Assembly to pass them later this week, and then we'll be asking the governor to sign them. Thank you for your leadership, Senator Blakespear and Assemblymember Bauer-Kahan. We appreciate you. Now it's my honor to introduce Tomasa Valdez.
Thank you, Louis, and good morning, everyone. My name is Tomás Valadez. I am the California Policy Associate with Azul. It is great to be here today to support this legislation that will help reduce plastic pollution in the state. 10 years ago, we were also involved in the passage of SB 270, which at the time, we thought would end the use of plastic bags here in California. Unfortunately, a loophole was created in the form of thick plastic bags that are not often reused. We are here today to close that loophole once and for all, and we are proud to stand with these incredible legislators and advocates that have led the fight. Plastic pollution disproportionately affects marginalized communities and vulnerable populations. This legislation will help those that are disproportionately affected, as well as help protect our environment. It is time for California to once again be a leader in environmental policy and pass this important legislation. With that, I would like to introduce Rena Cohen from CalPERG.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Rena Cohen, and I'm going into my third year studying political science at UC Davis, and my second year of chairing our chapter, CalPERG Students Chapter at UC Davis. I first wanted to express my gratitude for Senator Blakespear and Assemblymember Bauer-Kahan. Thank you so much for championing this important environmental issue. CalPERG Students is a student-run and student-funded organization that focuses on training and empowering students to organize for change and work towards greener, healthier futures. I'm really honored to represent our student members from across the state here today and saying that our generation deserves a future without so much plastic pollution. Through hundreds of petitions and thousands of conversations, we know that students across the state agree on the urgent need to fight plastic pollution on a large scale. It's estimated that 10 million tons of plastic are dumped into the ocean every year. A minute of convenience turns into a hazard for marine animals, ourselves, and every single generation that will inherit this earth after us. Plastic breaks down into small pieces that have been found in every corner of the globe, including human bodies. potentially exposing us to harmful compounds and additives. To reduce the plastic pollution currently in our communities and prevent our generation from inheriting a plastics crisis that's even worse, we need to start with banning the most unnecessary single-use plastic bags. By banning plastic bags from grocery store checkout, SB 1053 and AB 2236 will finally prevent grocery stores from providing these thicker plastic bags at checkout. Although these are labeled as, quote, reusable, we know that these bags are rarely being reused. A new CalPERG report found that only 2% of observed customers carried plastic bags back into grocery stores with them. As we suspected, most grocery store plastic bags are not being reused multiple times. Rather, they're becoming waste after their original use. Students across the state agree we need to fix our bag ban and truly ban the bag once and for all. My generation didn't create the plastics waste crisis, but one way or another, we're going to have to deal with it. CalPERG students will continue working towards that change, organizing students one at a time, and together we can change the world that we will inherit. We are looking to our state leaders to consider future generations and vote yes on AB 2236 and SB 1053 to end the plastics crisis. I'm so glad to be joined by you all as allies in this work. Thanks again for having me today. Okay, guys. Ban the bag on 3, okay? Ban the bag. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ban the bag! Thank you so much.
Well, thank you everybody for coming today, and thank you so much for, I just want to highlight, though, these 2 bag options. So let me hold. Okay, so these are the 2 bag options that you will have at the grocery store after these 2 bills go into effect. Best is that you reused your bag and you don't use a new bag. If you forgot your bag, then you can have a paper bag available for purchase. So we will not have plastic at checkout, and we will be able to reduce our footprint when it comes to plastic in our oceans, on our lands, and in our bodies. So I want to invite Rebecca Bauer-Kahan to come up here, and we'll answer any questions from the media. And I also just want to say a big thank you to the environmental organizations, to the students, to Assemblymember Bennett for coming today, and also for the Grocers Association, which we literally could not do this without partners on the business side. So thank you so much for your advocacy and your participation in this. We're so grateful.
One more thank you to International Paper, who's gearing up to make the bags California needs.
Yes, thank you to International Paper. Thank you. So are there any questions? Well, my answer to that is that you always, politics is the art of the possible. So you start with the thing you can do, and going bigger than that at the beginning seemed like it would be an overreach. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. It is where, if you think about going to the mall, most of your stores use paper already. So it is where we believe a huge part of the plastic impact is happening. I will also add that 2 of our largest retailers are also considered grocers. So we'll be making a huge dent by including them in this bill. Walmart and Target, yeah.
I think we wanted to prove that this was a united front. So having the same bill and having it modified as it went through both houses shows to both Assembly and Senate colleagues that we care about this, that it's a priority, that we're on the same page.
They are the exact same. They do not both need to pass. If the governor signs one, it becomes law. But I think another important piece of that is that we wanted both houses to buy into this. We wanted both houses to feel a part of banning these plastic bags. It is a really important effort. One, we thought we wouldn't have as many partners in when we started. We're really lucky to have the coalition we have behind us. But there is still opposition, as Senator Blakespear mentioned. The folks that make these plastic bags want to keep making them. They are the only opposition. But, we do have to go up against that. And so we knew we had to build a coalition and build partnership in the entire legislature to make this happen, and that's where we're at.
And I'll also just say that to your first question, I am hopeful that we will take this to the next level and the next level as years go on. So starting with grocery stores, but then moving on so that we actually are systematically eliminating a lot of the plastic pollution that comes from plastic bags. We advocate for the governor to sign it. I mean, I'm personally interested in reducing plastic everywhere it is. So we are focused on the thing that we need to do right now. So that's really the priority. And then there will be a lot of next steps on a lot of fronts.
I also want to add that what's critical about doing an approach like this, where we show the art of the possible, where the grocers have stepped up and said they are willing to do this, they are eager to do this, is then we show it works. And then we can help others come along where they're more hesitant to partner in this. So I do think it's critical to take a staged approach to bring business along with us. And I think they'll get there, and we will continue to ban plastics. It's what our future needs, and it's what our constituents want.
Anything else? Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody. We're so grateful.